Angela here at Sew Bright Our Pine Quilting, and welcome to our weekly update for the Boho Heart Quilt Sew Along. Sorry about last week, we had some technical difficulties, and then of course we took off to Adelaide for the weekend, so nothing on Monday. So that's why we're here today on a Wednesday. I just thought I'd like to share with you how we're going with putting our version together. You can see the design wall is diminishing on this side, which means if Steve goes around that side, you'll be able to see that we've got 3 sections put together now. It's looking fantastic. I'm so pleased with how it's turning out. So I thought I'd just go through how we go about cutting out some of the strips and joining the blocks for the last section, just to give you a couple of tips. So I've laid down on the table here the next 6 strips. So we're working in sort of a grid formation to try and get a straight line across. So the first 2 strips, we need to cut those 24.5 inches. Oops, of course I had them there nice and tidy, now they've moved. So we're just going to cut those 2 strips 24.5. And then the next 4 are cut at 26.5. So we need to cut the end off of those. And then find 26.5. Just need to tidy up all of our ends down here as we slide along. So now we're using because the ruler is only 24 inches, we're using the mat as the measurement. So here we have 26.5. And then we can take these 4 strips to the design wall on the other side, in the order that they go, and we can put them on the design wall and we can sew them together. So just come around here, say hello if you're there, let us know how you're going. So here's the first section that we're going to join together. So we need to join these 2 strips together with this little square, and then our next 4 strips will get joined together. Oopsie. And then those 2 can be joined, those 2 sections can be joined together and joined to our 6-inch square. Depending on which section you're working on, it's easier to work from either the top or the bottom. For the first section, the sections that have a lot of the background fabrics, I found it easier to work from the bottom up, but the centre 2 panels, I found it easier to work from the top of the section, top of the quilt, and work down in the section. So you can see as we come along where our join marks are. So we've got a join here, a join here, here, here. And so then as we move down, it makes it easier. It's easier to go down with this one, but I found it easier to go up with this one because I want the strips in a certain order, the order that I had pinned behind me over there. So we'll take these first 2 strips, put them right sides together. We've got our 1/4-inch seam and quite a neutral thread. And we're going to sew down the whole length, popping it right sides together. As I said, 1/4-inch seam. Might be a bit noisy for you, but you'll get the idea of it anyway. So make sure we've got our raw edges lined up. I've got a nice little guide here on the side that's a 1/4-inch, and I've also got a 1/4-inch mark at the stitch plate as well. So that helps keep everything lined up. So you can either pin the 2 strips together, or you can just hold them together in sections. So I like to sew a bit, put 2 sections together, and then sew a bit more. And then when I get to the bottom, I line up the bottom and then pop my fingers halfway, keeping the bottom nice and straight. And because this edge is the bottom of the quilt, I'm going to do a little reverse at the end, just so that our stitches don't start popping open when it goes on the quilting frame. So then we can go to the iron and we can press these to open, or we can just go and press in sections. So what I'll do is I'm pressing all of the strips towards the side. So I'll just give that a little finger press, and then I'll grab that little 2-inch square. Stay there, Steve. So this is the 2-inch square that's going on the top. Well, it's 2.5 cut. It's a 2-inch finished, and then we'll join that on the top. We can cut that one. And then we can give that a little finger press up. So a lot of the seams, you will just need to be guided by what you're joining it to. So because we're joining this to a darker piece, I would press the seam behind in the upward direction. Sometimes it works out that you can press everything from the top going down, but where you've got quite a difference in there, I like to press them away towards the dark side, as we would always say. So then I can grab the next strip and put that right sides together again, lining up those top edges. And once again, sewing all that down. So you just need to, as I said, be mindful of where your seams are and where they're falling. Sometimes you may need to flip something that you've already pressed in a different direction just to help everything sit flat so that you can nest your seams. And I'll grab I'll just sew this one, and then I'll grab the previous section off the wall, and I'll show you what I mean. Didn't check the bobbin before we started, so maybe we're going to play bobbin chicken here. So my stitch length I've got on about 2.3. Don't want it to be too short, not too long. Nice even stitch. Okay, so we're nearly there. Line up the edges at the bottom. Do a little reverse. Okay, we can cut those ones. I'll put them back on the design wheel for now, and I'll join those together later, but I'll just grab down the previous section and we'll go back to the table. Oh, we can't get it down because we've pinned it up. I'll just flip it up and I'll show you. So I'll just turn it around. Okay, so as we're coming down the sections, you can see when we've joined it together, if you press each thing down as often as you can, your long arm quilter will love it because it'll all be going the same direction. But some places you'll see I've pressed it up. So where it's a light background, I've pressed it up just to help everything sit. And then I remember this one here in particular. When I was coming across here, because you can see the seams will line up with previous sections, so that's where I'm talking about you might have to flip the seam allowances just to get the intersecting seams to nest together, which will give you a flatter result. And the other thing is try and keep your threads tidy on the back and remove any loose threads as you go, just so that you don't get any shadows showing through. But you can see how well it's coming together. If there's any questions, pop them in the comments and we will get back to you as soon as we can. I'll just fit behind you, Steve, and come back over here. So what I've done to keep organised is lay out your background strips for each section. So in this last section, there's 18 strips. So I've chosen the 18 strips in the order that I want them to go in, so that as we move up the quilt, we can use the same fabrics in the sections where it looks like the design is going, the backgrounds are going through the design, where it sort of weaves its way through the design. So that's how I like to keep them. I like to keep them in order, and then if I've run out, so like this one here, I'll need to cut another one of that. So I've got a pile of the background strips just on the cutting table here, and I will pop them all, cut them as I go. Other than that, what else can I say about the piecing? Just, as I said, make sure you're just checking where you're going with your seam allowances. But it's been coming together really well. And so next week, hopefully, I will show you the finished top. I'll probably post a picture of the top because it may go off to the quilter to get quilted. I haven't decided whether I'm going to send it off to Rose at Pandora Quilting or if we'll quilt it here. Just depends how much time I have left and if Rose has time to do it as well. Okay, let's have a look, see if anybody says hello. So we'll just show you that for a minute. I can't see any questions. Just one more, check that one more spot where there might be a question. Michelle, hello Michelle, hello Glennis. Let's see what Michelle says. Hello. We'll get to see you shortly, Michelle. Hopefully you'll be coming to Townsville or Cairns Craft Alive and we can catch up in person, which will be wonderful. Oh, she's written something again. Hello, Glennis. Sorry, the way the comments come up on the Facebook is a bit weird. Not always easy to see them on the computer next to me. Keep sewing. Hope you're enjoying it so far. So we've only got a couple of weeks to go and this will be finished. But don't forget to share your progress. That would be great. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.